All right. Just want to do a quick pre-welcomes. We still have 1 minute left, so we
Sure.
just want to, yeah, wait a little bit for people to join. All right. Eric, you can hear me, and then
I can hear you. Can
Eric
you hear me
is set
well?
up. Yes, I can hear you well. Very good. Thanks again for joining.
No
And
problem.
yeah, so we're gonna wait 1 minute, and then we're gonna start.
And I can share my slides, correct?
Yes, you can share your slides. Yes, I promoted you as a
Shall
panelist, so
I
yes.
start sharing them already, or I should wait a bit?
You should wait a bit. I will
Okay.
introduce you first, and then you can take the stage.
Excellent.
All
Okay,
right.
perfect.
Then I think we are ready. Okay, so let's start. Hi everyone. So my name is Sira. I'm part of ESMT Berlin admission team. So yeah, kind of like every month we do this MBA Bites. So the aim is just for you to kind of like get to know our professor, our lecturers here at ESMT. And yeah, so you're also gonna get a bit of, I would say, the bite-sized lectures from our selected professors and lecturers. So it's gonna how we're gonna do it is that I'm gonna give you a quick introduction, and then our Professor Eric gonna start his presentations for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we have sometimes afterwards that you can ask our Eric right away, so you can use the Q&As icons features down at the Zoom call at the Zoom meeting. And yes, so first of all, this is going to be recorded, but of course, we're not going to publish it in any YouTube video or something, but we're going to send it to you, those who participated, in case you want to have a look afterward. So I would like to, oh, it's already recorded. So perfect. All right, so right, welcome to MBA Byte. So, oops, sorry. So yes, I want to meet our associate professor, Eric. Thanks again, Eric. Thanks for joining. And yeah, so he's our professor of organizational behavior here at ESMT, and he also has a PhD in management from University of Melbourne in Australia. So just a quick intro, and Eric, if you're ready, you can take the stage, and I will stop sharing.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Here we go. Can you see everything well? You see my
Yes,
slide?
I can see your slide. Yes.
Excellent. So this is actually a presentation I made as part of a TED Talk, and I thought it would be interesting for the audience here to have a look at what we do at ESMT. So it's partly my research, and some of those things are concepts that I will use in the teaching that you get in an MBA program. So the focus is on the social side of burnout. And from this research emerged four relational traps that we've identified from this social perspective. So I'm a professor of organizational behavior, which means that I study people in organizations. And this slide actually shows people in organizations. You can see each circle is a person, and their colors represent departments in organizations. And the way that I look at people in organizations is by focusing on the relationships that they build with each other when they work together in organizations. And when you focus on the relationships, there's a different picture of the organization that starts to emerge, where you can see the interconnections of people in the organizations and how departments relate to each other. And we've done research on this perspective for decades. And over time, what we found is that the position that people occupy in a social structure in the organization actually affect a lot of outcomes, like their performance, their creativity, their promotions, and also it protects them from turnover. Now, what we've identified and what we focus on are structures, the type of patterns of relationship that surround individuals when they occupy social networks in organizations. So, for example, Kelly here has what we call a cohesive network structure, which means that she is well connected to a group of people who are also connected to each other. And what we learned over time is that this actually provides Kelly with advantages like a lot of social support. Kelly also gains recognition, and because she's aware of all the work that colleagues do and they're aware of her work. And Kelly is also able to coordinate and implement ideas very efficiently because of that specific network structure. Alex is in a very different network position. Alex has many contacts, but none of these contacts know each other. They don't necessarily talk to each other. It's called what we call an open network structure. And that open network structure gives Alex a very different set of benefits from what Kelly gained. Alex has access to a lot of diverse information from her contacts. They tend to be in different departments, in different social groups, and therefore she obtains a lot of very different insights about what's happening in the organization. And Alex is also able to develop skills about translating information from one audience to another. If she hears something from sales, she's able to translate it, to transform it to a new ideas that can be used maybe in marketing or in accounting. Alex also controls the flow of information. And so what we see with these positions is that we've learned over time that they lead to a lot of benefits, a lot of good things come to people who occupy those positions. But what we missed for a long time were consequences, negative consequences, potentially at the individual level. So I worked on that and I focused on burnout. And burnout is a stress syndrome. It's a syndrome of excessive stress, so that you've been exposed to very demanding environments. And there's this study or survey by McKinsey done in 2022 that shows that a large proportion of employees experience burnout frequently at work. So what I decided to do was to develop a set of research projects across different organizations in different industries to try to understand how social networks, social positions were related to burnouts. And we did interviews, surveys, we looked at email traffic within organizations. We use predictive models, advanced statistics in order to understand the relationship between network positions and burnout. It's still work in progress. I actively work on those topics. But I can summarize what we found so far into those 4 relational traps. And they correspond to the 2 structural types that I identified earlier. This cohesive network structure from Kelly, we know that it provides social support, it provides facilities, or it helps implementation and coordination. But what we also realize is that it can trap people into a normative cage, which means that if people in your network know each other very well and they communicate with each other, we know that there's a tendency for norms to emerge. And those norms can be really good because they facilitate coordination. Because if these norms become too strong, they can also stifle innovativeness and creativity and become very constraining, suffocating, which leads to this idea of a normative cage. And that generates exhaustion and burnout. A second relational trap we identified was emotional contagion. When everybody goes well or is feeling well in a team that's very cohesive, then it's great because positive energy is being amplified. But when there are problems, there's frustration, there's conflict within the team, when there are negative emotions, that amplification is also very negative. And therefore, the second relational trap is that is specific to those cohesive structures, is that when there are negative elements, they become amplified and they can become very damaging to the rest of the group. Open network structures are very different. People don't know each other very well, they don't talk to each other, and therefore it's very unlikely that strong norms or strong contagion processes will emerge in those type of structures. What we found, by contrast, is that there tend to be interdependencies that are hard to control. And here, it's a study we did in a hospital, actually, where we found that nurses would depend on many different departments that are not well coordinated with each other, like with doctors, with legal professions, with accounting. They depend on each of those departments to do their work. And the more departments they depend on, the less they have control over their own work, and therefore it makes it harder and harder for them to fulfill their work to a level of quality that they like. And that also increases the likelihood of burnout. The fourth and last trap is excessive demands, and it's also related with that open structure. And here the idea is it's a bit the opposite as the interdependency, where it's not that that Alex depends on a lot of other people, is that a lot of people depend on Alex. And the more people with different requirements, different needs, different demands, different timing and expectations depend on you, the more likely you will be to experience higher levels of stress, of exhaustion, and of burnout. So the research focused on identifying those traps and identifying some of the negative elements of these network positions, but we also gave some thought about what you can do about it. And the first and easiest step is to have some kind of a relationship health check. It's every 6 months, ask yourself a set of questions. For the first trap about the normative cage, it's simple questions about how much you still learn from your coworkers. Do they actually bring new ideas and perspectives, or do you think that the water is pretty stale, that there is nothing new that occurs in your environment? For the second trap about emotional contagion, it's around energy. Do people around you energize you? Do you feel stimulated by those relationships? On the contrary, do you feel that there is so much gossip and frustration that you're exhausted just by thinking about going to work? For the trap number three, about interdependencies, do you feel in control of your own work, or do you feel that other people, you depend so much on other people that they actually control over the quality of your work and the timing of your work? And for trap four, the idea is, do you actually feel stressed too thin? Do you feel that you have so many different stakeholders and demands that you need to fulfill that you're pulled in very different directions, and that becomes unsustainable? If you're in trap one or two, then the solution is you need to diversify your network of relationship. You need to start engaging with different colleagues and reduce the frequency of interactions with your close group of colleagues. If you're in traps three or four, where you have incontrollable interdependencies or excessive demands, then it's the opposite. You need to refocus on your core group, build the support that you need, create connections between your contacts, and align these interdependencies between your contacts in order to make sure that they can satisfy their demands with each other. And that will help you get out of those traps. That's what I wanted to talk to you about today. It's part of my research on the social side of burnout. Networks matter, and we still keep learning a lot about both the positive and the negative elements that are associated with building those relationships at work. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Eric. I believe that you will be the kind of like the modules or the subject that we'll be teaching is going to be organizational behavior. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Perfect.
And I do embed dimensions of social networks in the class.
All right. Thank you then. Yeah, we have around like 5 minutes. If you have any questions to our Eric, you can ask in the Q&A box right away, and then we will answer it live right now. So just try to keep an eye on the Q&A box.
No questions. I was extremely clear.
Exactly. So no questions. That's oh, all right. We have one question coming in, Eric. So I can read it out loud for the rest. Do you recognize any trends in burnout?
And by trends, I assume increasing, decreasing, these kind of things. So I think the general trend is that there has been an increased reporting of burnout. So we're becoming a lot more aware of it. There are more surveys that are done around burnout, and there's more awareness of burnout. Now, knowing whether burnout itself has increased is very difficult because the way that the attention that we pay to it has changed over time. So I will say we're definitely more aware of it. We recognize that it's a problem. We recognize some of the consequences in terms and more subtle consequences in terms of creativity, innovation, knowledge transfer, so that we're also quite aware of the potential downsides of even mild levels of burnout to exist in an organization. So that would be the kind of trend that I've seen emerging in the last 10 to 15 years.
Thank you. We have another questions coming in. I gonna read it. So is your research still ongoing to find it other causes or trends emerge?
Yeah, so the research is definitely ongoing, trying to understand much better the social dimension of burnout. So I don't know if it's a new trend or cause, but the idea is simply that burnout is typically seen as emerging from an imbalance between demands and resources. So you have too many demands to do for your job and not enough resources to do this. But as you can see, it's very based on the design of your job. So how many tasks, how many hours do you have, and how much resources, money, and access to other people do you have to do your job? But that social dimension has not been explored. So it's mainly providing a broader understanding of what are the different elements that could either facilitate burnout to emerge or prevent it or make it or actually protect individuals from burnout. So that would be the type of research I've done over the last 10 years, and I'll keep doing that as long as I can.
Thank you. All right, so maybe we can have one or two more questions. Okay, no question. I have oh, okay. Right. So another questions. Even today, there seems to be stereotypes attached to people who struggle with burnout. For example, you must be inadequate at your job if you experience burnout. So this kind of like stigma and everything. So
Yeah,
any experience with this in your research, Eric?
yeah. So I've seen that a lot, and I think the stereotype is very wrong. And I think a lot of researchers, me included, are trying to focus really on the idea that burnout is systemic. It's not because you are a specific individual was not worth and was not productive enough, was not good enough, because you're placed in a certain situation based on demands of resources or in a certain social situation where almost anybody placed in the same situation will be facing or experiencing exhaustion or burnout. So it is a problem, a stereotype that we do recognize, and we actively try to go against it by showing that most of the determinants of burnout we find are actually systemic. They're not due to a single individual, but they are due to the broader context of the organization. Yeah. So thanks for the question.
All right. Then we have two questions, and I will say that's it. So we can answer these two. So the first one's from Maury. What about people who are sometimes extremely isolated, meaning they are somehow not in any of those of the two schemes that you explored? For example, homeless people or people living far alone in isolated place. Have you somehow popping up, I don't know,
Yeah,
in your research?
of course, it's a good question. I have to admit, so the scope condition of the research is we're focusing on basically knowledge-based organizations mainly, and so the examples that you give are pretty extreme for a typical organization. You do have some workers who are completely independent. They don't relate to anybody. They don't need anybody to do their work. But most employees in normal organizations, they need to work with other people. They are interdependent. So that will be a scope condition of the type of research that I'm conducting. If you're working completely on your own, completely isolated, then clearly those social dimensions are going to be a lot less relevant and important.
All right, then this is gonna be the last questions for the session with Eric. So Pavel has asked, are there any dependencies
Mhm.
between the open space office and burnouts? Like,
Yeah,
is it
of
office
course.
planning?
It's
Yeah.
it's a good question. I think I haven't seen any research specifically directed to that. So the relationship, so the idea would be if you're in an open space, you're actually exposed to many more people than if you are working separate offices. So the layout should have an impact on the type of connections that you build and therefore the type of exposure to burnout that you can have. It makes sense. It's intuitive. I haven't seen research on that specifically, so I basically I just don't know. I think it's an interesting question to ask. What I've seen is open spaces also, they tend to be associated with more interruptions and being distracted to your work. But then people typically have coping behaviors where they wear headsets and they shut themselves off from others, so they find ways to manage with that. So there's a dynamic interplay between the office space and people's behavior that seems to mitigate some of the more negative impact of any office design choice. So it's a complex question, or at least it's a complex answer. It's a good question, it's a complex answer.
Then, yeah, thanks, Eric. Thanks for your presentations. And of course, if you want to, I don't know, get to know Eric, please talk to us. Admissions are very welcome to enroll you in. And of course, you will be having a class with Eric for sure. Yeah, thanks, Eric. But those of you who stay, I will be having another quick 5 minutes presenting our 4 MBA programs. And if you somewhat have question regarding the admission application or the curriculum itself, you also can ask the question in the end. But now I have to say goodbye to Eric first. Yeah, thanks again, Eric.
Thanks a lot, and thanks everybody for all the questions. That was really cool. Bye bye.
Bye, Eric. I'm gonna quickly share my screen. So yes. Yeah, so quickly, so we have 5 minutes left together. So it's a quick one. Those of you, I feel like I know some of you already. We kind of have a talk already before, but those of you who are still new to ESMT Berlin, I just want to give you a quick overview of who we are and what programs we offer. So ESMT Berlin, we're right here at the heart of Berlin, next to the Berliner Dome. This is our beautiful campus that you see right here. It's just directly opposite to the Humboldt Forum. And right, so 4 things. So I think a quick reason why ESMT would be your choices. First of all, as you see from our professor presentation just now, I think we really focus a lot on making sure that our curriculum is very relevant and modern, so you can expect to see topics like this in your studies. We're very international, even though we're German business school, but like we have a very international, diverse student bodies and also our faculty as well. We're also focusing a lot on career. We have career coach, we have career fair, we have a lot of trainings. We bring you to alumni, we bring alumni to you. So we also, because I think MBA is all about career, so we make sure that we provide all the support as much as possible. And yeah, so we are triple accredited for especially for online MBA. This is very important. It's kind of like it takes a lot of effort for us to have these recognitions, but so you can make sure that the quality is there. And we one of the top ranked business school in Germany. And yes, so quickly, we have 4 programs available for MBA. Full-time MBA, part-time MBA, global online, and executive MBA. I'm just gonna run through quickly, but if you have a questions, you can ask me after, or also we can have a chat afterwards. So full-time. So this is the one program. This is the program for students who would like to quit their job and study with us full time. So it's going to be a very intensive 15 months, starting in January. And we offer two tracks if you want to do a specialization. The first one is managerial analytics, and the second one is innovation and entrepreneurship. And the class size is very interesting. So maximum is 50. And even though we required a minimum years of work experience to be 3, but we see the average around like 7. So you can estimate that like the age of your classmate going to be around 32. It's very international. It's very diverse. We have like 23 nationality each batch. But this one, I would say you cannot really carry on your full-time employment because it's going to be very intense. Part-time MBA. So this one we designed it for those who don't want to leave their job, do want to keep their job, and want to complete the MBA with us. The most important thing is that this MBA is going to be hybrid program, 25% in person and 75% online. When I say in person, that's mean you're going to be with us 14 times. So this is going to be a 2 years program starting in September. 14 times you have to be with us. Meaning, let's say on average, every 2 months, you come to us Thursday afternoon, Friday, Saturday full day. So I would say it's more suitable for those students who are already in Berlin or in Germany, so you can travel. Of course, we still have some students from surrounding European capitals like from Prague, from Warsaw, we also have from Belgium and Sweden as well. But of course, if you live far away, then it's going to be quite tricky because we kind of like want you to be with us for a few days every 2 months. But also kind of like the same profile, the average years of work experience is around 7 years. Third one. So if you kind of far away from us, you're kind of not in Europe, not in Germany, and you feel like you want to join, we offer this online MBA program. So this is a fully accredited, you get the same academic credits as others program. In your certificates, it's not going to mention online, so it's going to be a proper German master degree. So online MBAs is extreme flexible, so you can do everything online. It's going to be the 2 years program, and we also do a batch. So we have two intakes starting in June and October, and each intake we can accept around 50. The reason why we want to create this like class is because we understand that maybe like online MBA, if you just study by yourself, maybe it's not the most effective. And also for the MBA, you like to interact, you want to exchange, you want to build your network. So we make sure that like once you join, you have your class, your 40 students as your classmate, and you go through the course together. There's going to be a lot of group projects. And also, if you like to join us in person, we offer this for free. For example, we have Berlin Experience Week, all the online students flying in and spend 1 week together on campus with us, networking, class, workshop. Or if you want to do electives in person with full-time students or part-time students, you can also choose to do without any extra charges. And for the online students, the class size is a bit more diverse in terms of the age and work experience, because I think we see around from 7 up to 15, even to 20 years of work experience. So I think compared to the part-time and full-time, our students for the online MBAs, yeah, the class is going to be a bit diverse in terms of the work experience. The last one, executive MBA. This one is a bit special. So we are actually targeting students who have a bit more years of work experience. So as you can see, the average age for our executive MBA student is 42 years. So we kind of focused on leaderships a lot, and that's mean you have to already have at least 3 years of management experience to join this program. But it's going to be very exciting. The model is going to be it's going to be in person. You're going to be joining us 10 times in total of 18 months. And 4 hours of that, you're going to be also doing your study abroad. So we're going to organize everything. Sometimes we bring you to Portugal, sometimes we bring you to Nairobi in Kenya. So it's going to be a very global perspective. We try to make sure that you, I would say, get your leadership education in a very global perspective. All right. So yeah, career support. We have a dedicated team to help you whatever you need. We even have like a personalized career coach for a specific industry that you want to go. We have different recruitings, events all the time. We have trainings, how to do your LinkedIn. We have mock interview, and also for the full-time MBA student, you're also going to have your personal career coach to, I would say, to be with you throughout your job seeking journey. So if you have more questions regarding that, you can reach out to me, and then I can also get you in touch with our career team. All right. Yeah. So if you have questions, you can ask me right here. I think we have some time. You can, I think, wait, yes, sorry. You can submit your questions now. I'm sorry, I just stopped it for Eric, but now you can ask me anything regarding the full MBAs that I was just presenting. If not, we can also, you can send me an email. We can schedule an online coffee chat. No problems at all. So I'm just gonna leave it here for a few minutes for if you have some questions to ask in the box so I can answer it right away. Okay, no questions coming in. That's okay, all right. We have one question from Brett. Is there flexibility switching between online MBA and part-time MBA at all? For instance, we moved outside of Europe. I would say no for now. So, for example, if you join us for the next batch, let's say part-time start in October and also the global online start in October, this October, I would say no. We will not have any flexibility switching this two. However, there's a conversation going on. So we are exploring this. So I would say if you join us now this year, maybe in 2026, you will not have this, but maybe within the next year or 2 years after this, I would say we're gonna start having this option. And the reason why is because, we understand and also when the part-time students doing their online learnings, we're gonna actually using the same platform. So quick answer, no for now, no for the upcoming batch, but yes, we are talking, the conversation is there, and we hope to materialize within the next 1 or 2 years. All right, okay. We have another questions coming in, asking about work experience. So as of today, I have not yet reached the 3 years postgraduate work experience, but my goal is to apply for the 2028 class. When would I be able to apply for the full-time MBA? By then, I should have 4 to 5 years of work experience. So I would say you can apply. That means you can submit your MBA application, even though at that moment you haven't reached the 3 years. However, we look at the start date. For example, for the full-time MBA, the start date is in January. So, for example, maybe you are lacking 6 months. So you are now having 2 years and 6 months work experience by the time that you apply with us in June, right? So that's mean you're not having enough work experience. However, it's okay. You can apply because we know that by the time you start our class in January, you would hit 3 years. So this is how we look at it. And of course, if you already um, reach more than 3 years, like 4 or 5, you can pretty much apply directly. So no problems at all. All right. Any more questions? And yeah, so we also have this kind of MBA Bites almost every month as well. And for those of you already kind of in Berlin or Germany, we have the open house coming in June. So we also gonna have this a mini lecture, but also in person with professor as well. So if you kind of like want to experience this kind of class with the another prospect students on campus, you are also welcome to join our open house. All right, I think that's it. All right, thank you everyone. Again, Zira here as your application buddy. Any questions, always feel free to send me an email, sira@esmt.org. Thank you for joining today, and I hope to see you around on campus sometime soon or online if you decided to join our online MBA. All right, bye, ciao.